At the Vatican to cover this historic event is the national correspondent for the Tablet and Crux, Christopher White. He joins us now. Christopher, nice to have you here.
Hi, Liz. Thanks. Glad to be with you.
Pope Francis hit the ground running this morning. First, let's listen to him once again.
Il santo popolo di Dio ci guarda e attende da noi non semplici e scontate condanne, ma misure concrete ed efficaci da predisporre.
Christopher, strong words there from Francis calling for concrete action. What exactly does that mean? What actions are actually being considered?
Well, Liz, that's right. The Pope started today with a real salvo saying we have to go back to our people, that they know that we're going to go home with real actions. And he really reflected on 21 points that the group came together and discussed, starting with new guidelines for bishop accountability, so that it's not just the crime of sexual abuse, it's also the cover-up. And he wants church law to reflect that. And he's made it quite clear that all dioceses around the world are going to have to revise their new standards in order to reflect what comes out of these days ahead.
Christopher, 21 points, very comprehensive. What's been the reaction to that so far?
Well, I think most people didn't expect such, a high number today of those points. And I think we've had survivors sort of being pleased with that, saying these aren't just symbolic gestures, but these are real measures that perhaps can actually lead to substantive change. So far, the mood has been very positive.
Chris, today's main theme is responsibility. Manila Cardinal Luis Tagle focused on the hurt that's been caused by bishops. Listen up.
We humbly and sorrowfully admit that wounds have been inflicted by us, bishops, on the victims, and in fact, the entire body of Christ.
As a follow-up to that, Christopher, how did Cardinal Tagle suggest that bishops heal wounds?
Well, Liz, the Cardinal's remarks were emotional. At one point, he cried today, reflecting on the pain of victims, saying that they represented Christ being crucified. And to do that, he said, first we have to listen and let the testimony of survivors shape the Church's response, not the other way around.
Christopher, you're talking about this emotion, you're talking about tears. The Pope's sex abuse point man, Archbishop Charles Scicluna, he's speaking about bishops' responsibility. Give us a recap of that.
That's right. Archbishop Scicluna's reflections today were really concrete. He said when we leave this, we have to go back and revise our guidelines, and we have to find new ways to work with state officials here. So it's not just civil or church lawyers, it's church lawyers being willing to cooperate with investigations with real teeth.
And a very, very important component to this entire summit, participants also hearing from survivors of sexual abuse. What was their message?
Yeah, Liz, there's a number of powerful reflections today. And we don't know the names of these people because for their own protection, they wanted to remain anonymous. But we heard one account of a woman who had been sexually abused for years by a priest who on 3 occasions impregnated her and forced her to have abortions. Multiple bishops sort of, tearing up, crying openly. And I think that, that sort of emotion really marked the entire day.
Christopher, when you look around and you see the emotions, not just from the prelates, but from the survivors, what does that do to the mood of this summit? Has it shifted from business now to personal?
Yeah, I think, Liz, that's a fair assessment that this is really a personal listening session first and foremost. Yes, we want action, but the action is going to be driven by the stories and real-life experience of these victims because this is where they feel affirmed that their vulnerable past can really shape a new direction for the Church.
All right, Christopher, thank you so much for that update on the summit so far. We certainly will be talking with you a little bit more, but appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you, Liz.